Now, how do you handicap the quarterback competition at Lexington? You may have tipped your hand a little bit there with your Joey Gatewood comments, but uh, is Bo Allen a better fit for this, or do you think it's Will Levis potentially?
Gosh, it's so weird. It could really be any one of these guys at the moment. Bo Allen, when he originally committed, he was like Mac Jones stick. He was skinny. He needed to put on weight. You could tell when he was throwing last year, his arm just was not there. Even seeing the limited clips and on that spring special that ran on the SEC network, his low release worries me for a short guy. He's only about 6'1", 6'2", real height. So that could lead to a lot of batted balls, and that could lead to turnovers and drive killers. So that worries me. Joey Gatewood looks the part. He looks like, if you were to dream up a quarterback and mold him out of clay, you would get Joey Gatewood. Problem is, he can't really throw the ball that well. So if Kentucky is still going to try and do some read option stuff as opposed to doing more under center pistol stuff like I was talking about earlier, absolutely Joey Gatewood could be that short-term option. I think the Penn State transfer probably will be the better passer, but again, I'm just so, I wouldn't say untrusting, but I don't feel entirely comfortable handing the keys of the program over to this guy who has been on campus for so little because, I know Mark Stoops' job is safe, but let's be honest, back-to-back losing seasons isn't ideal.
Mm-hmm. Now, moving on last thing on Kentucky, because I want to ask you this. In your opinion, who's Kentucky's biggest rival right now in the SEC?
I would say Florida. Traditionally, obviously, it's been Tennessee, but it's obviously a very one-sided affair. And even though they definitely got their joy kicking Tennessee's ass last year in Knoxville for the first time in a very, very long time, and helping getting a coach fired at halftime. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure the BBN loved that, but at the same time, I think they view themselves as Florida as the bigger modern rivalry because the games have been more competitive. The games have mattered more in the standings. Kentucky could be a dark horse for the SEC East this year. And, of course, they're going to have to go through Florida, and Florida could be vulnerable with a brand-new quarterback.
Well, thanks, Clark. You just lost us our entire Tennessee audience. Kentucky has jumped past Tennessee onto Florida. And I can't argue with you on that one.
I mean, look, from a Kentucky's perspective, it's a very one-sided rivalry. I mean, I get you guys would love to have like a whipping boy and someone you can always count on winning, but I don't know. Just the games I look forward towards more in terms of like charting and like what matters between the two teams, it's definitely Florida and Kentucky. I don't know if it's just because the game happens earlier in the year, but for whatever reasons, the last 3 or 4 seasons, last year excluded, Kentucky has looked flat playing Tennessee. Like even the year where they had Josh Allen and Benny Snell at his peak, they went down to Knoxville and just looked completely dead in the water, and they let Jaron Garantano beat them back-to-back years. Mm-hmm. So even though it definitely does sting Kentucky fans for them to lose to Tennessee, I think the Florida games are viewed as a little bit more fiery these days for whatever reason.